Lightning cracked across the sky, and the whole landing pad shook as a ship screamed overhead, its engine coughing black smoke into the storm. I dropped my gear and ran toward the noise, rain hammering my face so hard I could barely see. Sirens howled from the tower behind me. Something was badly wrong, and I could feel it in my chest before I even reached the edge of the pad. Through the sheets of rain, I saw her, a small dragon girl, scales dark as a bruise, wings folded tight against her back, sitting alone at the very edge of the landing strip. She was not hiding. She was not running for cover like everyone else. She was staring straight up into the storm, watching a gap in the clouds like her eyes could hold it open by force. "Get inside!" I shouted over the wind, but she did not move. Another explosion lit the sky far above the clouds, orange light bleeding through the gray for half a second before vanishing. My stomach dropped. That was not thunder. That was a ship taking a hit. I skidded to a stop beside her, boots sliding on the wet ground. "Hey, you need to get to shelter. It is not safe out here." "My father is up there," she said, without looking at me. Her voice was steady, but her claws were dug into her own knees hard enough to leave marks. "He said he would land right here. He promised." I understood enough about her people to know a promise like that was not a small thing. To her kind, a vow made before flight was almost sacred. Breaking it was not supposed to be possible, which meant she was not just scared. She believed, with everything in her, that he was still alive up there, fighting to keep his word. Another blast tore across the clouds, closer this time, and a piece of burning metal spun down through the rain and slammed into the far end of the pad. Ground crew scattered, shouting. My ears rang from the sound. "That is enemy fire," I said, more to myself than to her. Raiders. They had been hitting supply routes along this corridor for weeks, but never this close to a colony. Never this bold. The girl finally turned to look at me, rain running down her scales like tears that were not quite tears. "You should run," she said. Everyone else did. I looked at the tower, half a kilometer back through the storm, doors sealed, lights flashing red. I looked at her, alone on an open landing pad, while enemy ships fought somewhere above the clouds. Then I sat down next to her on the wet ground. "I am not leaving a kid out here by herself," I said. "Not happening. You do not even know my father. I do not need to. I know what it looks like to wait for someone who might not come back. Nobody should do that alone." I said it fast, because another explosion rattled the sky, and I did not want my voice to shake when it went off. It boomed anyway, and this time the shock wave rolled across the pad, hot air pushing through the cold rain. She flinched but did not move from her spot on the ground, stubborn, just like her father apparently. My radio crackled against my hip. I grabbed it, turning away from her so she would not hear my hands shaking against the plastic. "Cole here. What is happening up there?" Grace, the flight controller, answered fast and tense. 3 Raider fighters broke through the outer patrol. 1 courier ship is caught in the middle of it, engine damaged, trying to outrun them through the storm clouds for cover. "Daniel, it is bad. We might lose him." "Copy that," I said quietly, and clicked off before my voice cracked. The girl was watching me. "Dragons hear more than people expect. They are still fighting him," she said. It was not a question. I could have lied. It would have been easy, and kind, and completely useless the moment the truth showed up in the sky anyway. "Yes," I said instead. "He is still flying. He has not stopped." Her claws relaxed slightly at that, just enough for me to notice. Not because it was good news, but because it meant he had not broken his word yet. A fighter screamed low overhead, engine strained and struggling, and behind it 2 enemy ships cut through the clouds in pursuit, cannon fire flashing between them. The courier weaved hard, barely avoiding a hit, smoke trailing from one wing. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was not a training exercise. This was happening right above our heads, close enough that the wind from the engines pressed against my face. "That is him," the girl said, standing up fast, wings snapping open despite the rain soaking them. "That is my father's ship." "Get down," I said, pulling her gently but firmly back toward the ground, as debris rained from a near miss above us. She resisted for half a second, every instinct in her screaming to run toward the sky, but she let me pull her down anyway. The courier ship banked hard, engine screaming, and dove straight for the storm clouds low over the colony, trying to use the weather itself as cover from the fighters chasing it. One raider followed too close, clipped a downdraft, and spun out wildly before catching itself and pulling away. The other locked on, cannon glowing hot along its wing. "No," the girl whispered, her whole body tense as a wire. I grabbed my radio again. "Grace, tell ground defense to light up that second fighter. Now. He is about to get a clean shot on the courier." "Ground defense is already tracking," she answered. "Give me 5 seconds." 5 seconds felt like 5 years. The raider fired. The courier jerked sideways at the last possible moment, the shot missing by a breath, clipping only the outer edge of one wing in a spray of sparks. The ship spun, corrected, and kept flying, smoke pouring harder now, but still moving forward. Then the colony's ground cannons opened fire, streaks of white light cutting up through the storm. The pursuing raider took 2 direct hits and burst apart in a flash that lit the entire sky orange for a full second before the rain swallowed the wreckage. The second raider, already damaged from its earlier spin, turned and fled back toward open space, engines flaring as it broke off the attack entirely. For a moment, there was only the sound of rain and the labored, coughing engine of one battered courier ship, still flying, still descending, heading straight for the pad. The girl was on her feet before I could stop her this time, running toward the open strip with her wings half spread despite the storm still hammering down. I ran after her, not to pull her back, but to make sure nothing else fell out of that sky on top of her. The courier came in low and rough, one landing strut clearly damaged, sparks trailing from its underside as it hit the permacrete hard, skidded, and finally screeched to a stop exactly where she had been sitting for the last 2 hours. Exactly where he promised. Smoke poured from the engine housing. For one terrible second, nothing moved, and I felt the girl beside me go completely still, the same stillness I had seen in her earlier, the kind that comes right before something either breaks or holds. Then the hatch blew open, and a scorched, limping figure climbed out, scales blackened along one side, one wing hanging at a painful angle, but alive. Fully, completely alive. The girl screamed his name and ran the last stretch of open ground faster than I had ever seen anything move, and he dropped to his knees to catch her, wrapping his good wing around her small shaking body as the rain poured down over both of them. I stood back and let them have that moment. It was not mine to be part of. Ground crews rushed past me toward the smoking ship, medics close behind. But for a few seconds, none of that mattered to either of them. There was only the two of them, together, exactly where a promise had said they would be. Later, after the medics checked him over and confirmed he would heal, the pilot found me standing near the tower, still soaked through, still shaking slightly from adrenaline that had not fully left my body. "You stayed with her," he said. His voice was rough, but steady. "She should not have had to wait alone," I said, "especially not through something like that." He looked at his daughter, now curled against his side, exhausted but calm, for the first time in hours. "Among my people, we believe a promise made before flight cannot be broken while love still holds the sky together. I did not know if I believed that until tonight. I did not have a response as clean as that, so I just nodded. Grace's voice crackled through my radio one more time, calmer now. "Nice work out there, Daniel. Command wants a full report in the morning." "Copy that," I said, and clicked off. The rain was finally starting to ease, thinning into a light drizzle as the storm rolled past the colony toward open sky. I looked at the girl one last time, her small hand wrapped tightly around her father's. both of them soaked and exhausted, but together, and I felt something settle in my chest that had nothing to do with the danger finally being over. Some promises are worth everything it takes to keep them, and some people are worth sitting in the rain for, no matter what is happening in the sky above.